My husband hid from me to be with another woman. He tried to explain, but it only drove me crazier. I always thought my marriage was safe. For 5 years, Mark was the kind of husband women envied. Steady, affectionate, reliable, but slowly something changed. It began with late nights and excuses that sounded too smooth. Traffic, he'd say, meetings. Then came the phone, always in his hand, face down, locked away from me. At dinner, his eyes were glued to the screen while mine searched for the man I once knew. One evening, as I cleared the table, his phone lit up. For a split second, I saw it, a glowing red heart. My stomach dropped before he snatched the phone away with a forced smile. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, knowing deep down my marriage was cracking. The final straw came on a Saturday. Mark grabbed his jacket, claiming he was heading to John's house, but John was overseas. My chest tightened. I knew it was a lie. I opened the family locator we'd installed years ago and watched the blue dot move across the city, far from John's neighborhood. I followed in the rain, hands trembling on the wheel. The dot stopped at the edge of town, at a weathered brick building with a faded sign, Haven House Children's Shelter. Through the window, I saw him laughing with a tall woman, too close, too familiar. I drove home in silence, heart pounding, tears stinging. Hours later, he slipped into bed beside me, kissed my forehead like nothing had happened. Rage boiled, and I confronted him, told him I'd seen him at the shelter with her. For a moment, he froze. His face went blank. Then he started laughing. Not nervous laughter, but loud and uncontrollable, as if I'd told the funniest joke. I sat shaking, my world collapsing. Finally, he wiped his eyes and whispered, "You're wrong. She's not my lover. She's my sister." I felt the ground tilt. Sister? In 5 years of marriage, not once had he mentioned a sister. He told me they'd been separated as children, sent to different relatives, and had only reconnected recently. Her name was Sarah. He swore the secrecy was only because he wasn't sure how I'd react and because he needed proof she was truly family before telling me. A week later, I met her. Sarah was warm, confident, with a smile that softened the tension in the room. Soon dinners turned into weekends, and before long, Mark asked if she could stay with us until she found work. Against my better judgment, I agreed. The house changed instantly. Mark was lighter, happier, sharing stories from a childhood I'd never heard. At first, I felt like an outsider, but then Sarah's attention turned to me, helping with errands, listening, laughing, and something inside me shifted. Late at night, lying awake next to Mark, I caught myself thinking about her, the warmth in her eyes, the way she brushed my hair back once, her hand lingering a beat too long. I should have pulled away. I didn't. One evening, while Mark worked late, Sarah and I sat with a glass of wine. The TV was on, but we weren't watching. She reached for my hand, and when her lips finally touched mine, it felt like the ground gave way beneath me. Shame should have crushed me. Instead, I felt alive. We carried on in secret, moments stolen in the mornings, laughter that lasted too long, touches that burned, until the night the storm came. Mark came home early. The door opened. His eyes locked on us. His wife and his sister tangled together. His briefcase hit the floor. The silence was unbearable before it shattered into shouting, tears, and the sound of a marriage collapsing. Days later, the divorce papers lay between us. His hands trembled as he said it was over. I signed, knowing I destroyed the man I once loved.